Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Cassidy from Project CAMELOT and very happy to be here today. I have Andreas Kalcker with me, and he is a very, very fascinating guy. And I have to say that he has cured himself using MMS, and he's going to tell you his story as well as talking about the current situation out there. So please bear with us. We're hoping that YouTube will keep this show on, but with the censorship going on, there's no guarantees, okay? So it will eventually go on to BitChute if we can't keep it here on YouTube, and Andreas is also going to have a link to his own server, I believe, where it will stay up there. So without further ado, as they say, I'm going to bring Andreas on here. Andreas, hello, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Carrie. Nice to meet you again after a lot of years, a long time ago.
And I want to say that I don't know if English is not your first language, so you speak very good English, but you are, actually, I don't even know what you are because I know you live in Spain, but I'm not sure you're Spanish. So I think you should give us a short bio, and that would be a good way to start.
Okay, let me present myself. I'm Andreas Kalcker. I'm a biophysicist, and my origin is German, but I went to Spain where I was living 37 years actually. And now I'm living in Switzerland where I'm doing research, and I'm doing it on this CAMELOT substance that you mentioned before, this yellow substance. And I have to say, well, my life changed quite a lot from that moment on.
Okay, well, let's actually hear your story. So why don't you tell people how you got started down this road?
Well, I got started because actually it was you who brought me into, because you made long time ago this an interview from Jim Humble, and so I got knowledge of the substance that we were speaking about, and that's CAMELOT actually, and it has many names, like you mentioned. And what happens is very interesting because, well, I ordered it in the internet because what was the problem? I had arthritis. I got arthritis so hard, like my hands were like this, like David Icke basically, and I couldn't move anything, even not to lift a pan. So I ordered them in the net. At that time, we are speaking about 13 years ago. And, well, I get it, but, I'm scientific and I'm very skeptic. You don't drink any stuff somebody tests. And so the first thing I did, I gave it to our dog. Well, it was a little tackle dog, she was 13 years old and barely moving. So the only thing was whipping the tail a little bit in the basket and not going much on with her. So I took that stuff and said, let's try. I gave it to her. Actually, she didn't like the taste at that time, because at that time I was done with citric acid. I'm speaking about the grandfather of what we're doing now. And so we went to sleep. The next day, when I opened the door into the garden, she was running out of wow, and barking, and I said, wow, what happened to that dog? So I decided to take it. And look, the pain, well, the first thing was it cleared my brain in a way. It got away the brain fog I had a long time that time. And then my hands didn't hurt anymore. I could move them, and it was, I said, wow, that's great. So I took it on and took it on and took it on. I get cured. So you get to your neighbor, your best friend, and all the others, and they get cured too. And then I said, wait a moment. A substance that can do arthritis, diabetes, legs, herpes zoster, and this and that, sounds to me totally snake oil, of course, because I didn't understand it. But when you experience it in yourself, well, no one can talk you off of that. And so I experienced it myself, and I said, well, this is worthwhile to look into. So I spent the last 13 years of researching on only this substance, nothing else. and for therapeutical use, because I wanted to know why it works. Where is the common denominator? And the common denominator is very interesting because we found it out finally. Because actually what it does is not only eliminating bacteria, virus, and fungus, because we know that already the CaLO2 is used in drinking water. Every drinking water supply has CaLO2 as for disinfection use. It's known as disinfectant. And but the other thing is, it is used as well in blood bags. Yes? So for the transfusion, for blood transfusion, the bags for blood transfusion are since 1994 use this substance or CaLO2 because they disinfect the blood with it. Because in the 90s we had a big problem with HIV, maybe you remember. And the HIV is another virus and is very bad too, deadly in this case, can be deadly. So in this transfusion bags, they wanted to clean all the pathogens that are from the donors. And it works. It works till today. It's 20 years, more than 20 years later, 25 years later, it works perfectly, and it is now obligatory to use it. The patent is from an American company called Alcide. So if you think, if the substance does not destroy the blood, if the substance is used for drinking water, so where's the point here? Can we drink it, yes or no? Yes, we can, obviously. Every substance, obviously, you have to look very good on, because every substance is toxic. You know? Some people say, oh, it's not toxic. No, every substance is toxic, for example. Depend always where and how much and how you do it. So when you say where, it means chlorine dioxide is toxic. Of course, it is in the lung. It's a lung toxic. You cannot inhale chlorine dioxide. The same as you cannot inhale water because you drown. So we can drink water, but we cannot inhale water. So it's a very simple thing. So the lung, the only thing we can do is breathe air. This is okay for us. So, and when you look into all the documents and scientific documents, you see in 100 years, there's not one single death of a person by chlorine dioxide that is registered clinically, you know. There may be some words going on, but definitely it's not the truth. And so nobody ever was able to kill himself by drinking chlorine dioxide till now. And so I say, seems to have a very low toxicity. What is the toxicity? Well, 292 milligram, it means 292 milligram per kilo of person. And a person of, let's say, 100 kilos needs to drink 29,200 milligrams, or say 29 grams of a gas. Quite difficult. And and it's a self-warning gas. It means if you make it too strong, you spit it out because you're not able to swallow it. So this is simply the reason why till now nobody died of it. It's so simple like that. The interesting thing what we find out is that the substance has a common denominator for all the issues of health. And what is the main issue of health? Well, metabolic acidosis. Let me explain this. Usually when you get inflammation or if you have chronic disease or whatever, the people don't have enough oxygen in the body. And oxygen is the common denominator because CaLO2, it's chlorine on one side and 2 of oxygen of the other, brings oxygen into the body because it dissociates in the molecule in the moment when there's something acid, or say something with protons. And if it touches a proton somewhere. And the interesting thing is that virus, for example, they have acids on the capsid, so they get eliminated by, it's called denaturation. It's chemical reactions like a burning. They're not, it's not a toxic itself, they get burned, the same as other bacteria and other pathogens. And the interesting thing is very selective. It does not burn anything. It burns the most acid first, because you have to follow the Nernst equation for the professionals. So it's a very interesting stuff that really brings this oxygen to the blood. And Jim at the time said, well, the red blood cells take it. No, sorry, Jim, that's wrong. The red blood cells do not take it. What happens, it is a parallel, and that's interesting, it's a parallel oxygen carrier in the blood. And that has been my research last years, and we made venous gasometric analysis, and we made tons of it. It's not a fake, where I really can say it definitely increases oxygen in the bloodstream. And now for everybody who says, well, what's the point? It's very easy. We get our energy in our body by burning calories. And everybody who knows what burning is, you need something you can burn. You need oxygen, because to eliminate a fire, the fire brigade gets rid of the oxygen, so the fire gets off. So actually, we are sitting too much, and we are too much couch potatoes, as they say, and so we don't have the oxygen like 100 years ago. And with more oxygen, the body can get better energy, have a better resistant system of the health, and everything works better in the body, absolutely everything, because you have energy. We don't have to forget that our body is energy. We are alive because of energy. So that's my point. I'm a biophysicist. I see the things from the point of the energy, and this stuff has been amazing. And the fantastic news I want to put to you, we are testing it now on this CV virus that is making big harm to the area, makes thousands of deaths. And we have preliminary results that are positive after 2 days. And actually now we had 2 doctors that used it, because one of the problems is that it is in the medical personnel is getting one of the most affected. In Spain, there's more than 37% down of the medical personnel. The hospitals don't have people because they're ill themselves and they're dying. A friend of mine actually died. And so what is happening there? Well, these 2 other doctors took it, and after 2 days, they were completely out of symptoms. And we said, wow, that's a big deal here. So they have been testing on all over. Many people have been testing it now. And now I get a flood of information, a flood of people that are saying, hey, it really works.
Okay, now thank you for all of that. And that's great information. So what I want to do is also say, which I guess I should have said at the beginning, is that the way I found out about originally chlorine dioxide, MMS, what it was called under Jim Humble's product in the early days, was that Bill Ryan, my earlier partner, and I went to Russia and interviewed Boriska, the child from Mars, boy from Mars, as we called him. And when we came back, we had a flu that we could not get rid of. And it was, I believe, because the variation of the flu was not familiar to our Westerners' bodies. So we had it for 2 weeks, and we're really wondering what to do. And someone mentioned, we happened to be in Switzerland at the time, and they mentioned MMS. So we got it immediately and took it, and within 2 or 3 days we were cured. So ever since then I've been using it, only when I'm sick, but some people actually use it when they're not sick, but nonetheless, and it gets rid of anything and everything. So that's my personal testimony, and I do have a disclaimer here on my show and on my website so that, there's no issue. I'm not trying to recommend this to anyone else, but I am telling you anecdotally. So I'm saying this and he's saying this, so take it for what it's worth. And now, Andreas, what I want to do, though, is talk about this solution that Trump is talking about that sounds very similar to chlorine dioxide. And it's called something like, and I can't pronounce the word, but chloroquil or something of this nature. So
hydrochloroquine.
Okay, so can you explain to everyone what that is and whether it's actually using your basic formula or whatever?
Well, this is actually a very old stuff that has been used for malaria, actually. We know that Jim was able to heal malaria in a relatively short time. And what was there for malaria before? The chloroquine. There's nothing else, or hydrochloroquine in this case. So what is that? Okay, it's a kind. Well, actually, the why it works till now, the medicine doesn't know. So it's so old, and they still don't know because they say we don't know, but it works. And to me, it's very clear why it works because it contains chlorine too. Because chlorine is an oxidizer, same as air, and this oxidizer gets rid of the pathogens. Not much, not more or less. So. It is a part. It's let's say the little brother of chlorine dioxide, the not strong one, but it works somehow. Somehow. The problem is it has hydrogen inside too, and it makes reactions and you can get heart problems of that because it's for heart disease patients it's not suitable and other stuff too. So it has some severe side effects that chlorine dioxide does not have. Chlorine dioxide is just CaO2, so you have the chlorine that decays to table salt, and we could measure that. It's nothing else than table salt inside the body, and decays to oxygen. What's the problem? After 2 hours, more or less, it's gone. It's very fast. So you have to prepare a bottle and have to drink this bottle during all the day. No problem. You drink a little bit, and in the end of the day, you feel much better, definitely. And actually, I have another message. I became today another message from Ecuador because in Guayaquil the situation is really nasty. The people are really dying on the street, and they are burning the people on the street because it's really heavy. And so they wrote me. My sister was down there, and she had to go into the hospital that was overfilled, and she needed tracheotomy. Well, and it was not possible. So in this moment, they convinced the doctor at that time to give the chlorine dioxide. And look, 6 hours later, she was okay. She was without symptoms. She is still sick, but she is without symptoms. So it's getting better every day. So this is definitely the fact, because the difference in between this substance and other substance is that it really is able to eliminate these virus and never can be able to create resistance because it is working by burning, oxidizing. What does it mean? Well, people say, well, it will work with the subspecies and with this one and the other one. I say, yes, definitely. It is because burning, nobody can get resistant. If you put a German, an Afro-American or a Chinese in a fire, all will burn, on a stack. So it doesn't make any difference. No one can ever. This is why this substance is working for 100 years now. What's the problem? Well, it's a very cheap stuff because it's used in the industry for many things. For example, your poultry is disinfected with it, so you will not get bacteria or other illnesses when you buy your chicken in the supermarket. And there are thousands of applications that it cannot be taken away from the industry and especially in the food industry. And now it comes. As it is a gas, because it is a gas that is soluble in water, it is not authorized yet in pharmaceutical stuff. And this was my work the last years. I've been working in Swiss here in the Center of Research, and I made 3 patents on it. Not to drink, because you cannot make a patent on what you drink, but for intravenous application. And this is very interesting for the people that are in the bad situation, because you really can get them out of that. And because we used it in this, it was very successful. Now, please don't try to put MMS into your veins. This is not possible. We are speaking here about a much more higher developed stuff. That is the CDI in this case, and this is done on a different way. For example, what we put is we make it here with the electrolytic. This is a special machine that has platinum electrodes, and it creates a 99.999% pure CaO2 that is so pure, and it is pH neutral that you can use it for intravenous use. And that was basically one of my patents I filed here in Switzerland and worldwide.
So are you, at this time, are you helping hospitals in Guayaquil or other places? Are you giving this information, and I don't know. Are you marketing the substance as well at this time?
I have no financial interests. We are now in a situation. Actually, I have contacts with other governments, and they asked me, and I said yes, but I don't want any financial interest because we are in such a bad situation that we have to help this world. Because if not, we will not have any world anymore, as we know. So everything will be so bad, people don't even imagine what's going on. So in this case, I said I'm not interested on any financial. These they can be used for free. I don't want money for that. I have everything I need. I'm 60 years old, and I have my house, my dog, my car. I don't need more. So basically, that's what it is. It's my idea. And yes, I've been in contact with other governments too, I have to say. And yes, the governments have accepted it in some places. Even military people jumped on, so it's already an ongoing process in several countries, from India going to wherever. This I've been getting phone calls everywhere because somehow the information got spread. I'm very happy with it, and I would love to get it onto the President of the United States too. President Trump. It would be great to have a conversation with him or with his people at least. I prefer him, I have to say. Because there would be a solution that is so fast. It's amazing. It's days, and you can stop that situation that is really getting the world in such a bad thing on every, not only health, it's economics, it's everything. And it's very cheap to produce, it's fast to produce, you can make it immediately and you have no side effects or severe side effects. Maybe you can get a diarrhea in one case or two, but it's not like before. The old MMS has nothing to do with it. So the substance we call CDS does not do that effect anymore because it's more pure for many reasons. So
okay, well, actually,
I
yes.
actually wrote I wrote to the White House, but they didn't answer.
Now, I don't know if you saw, but I do have somebody who might be able to get this information to Trump. And so I'm going to go through them, and I need you to send me whatever information you can. I believe before the show, your website was down, and so that's just to be aware of. I do want to say that people are going to want to know two things. One, what is the new solution made of, more or less? And then also, how do they find it? Where is it being sold?
Okay, it's not sold. It's basically you make it from the same substance as you make MMS. If you have MMS at home, you can make CDS. It is a very easy process. In my webpage, I have videos for free how to make it one by one. It's very put this, put that, put this, put that, close the tab, open the tab, you got it. So it's very, very, very easy, because if not, I will tomorrow have another thousands of emails, because yesterday we had more than 3,700 emails. And there's a moment you can say, well, look on the web, please, first. So look on the web. It's everything there. It's a very big website with nearly 1 gigabyte of data. It is, so there's everything. There's the videos, how to do it, how not to do it, where to be careful, what you can do, what you cannot do. Everything's on this website.
Okay, is it in English?
And we have another.
Is it in English?
Yes, it's in English, in Spanish, in German. It's in 3 languages, and all the documents you can just change the language up there. It's real translation, not a machine. And we have another thing. This is called the Megaforum, or forbiddenhealth.com, or in Spanish saludprohibida.com, where you have much more. You have hundreds of videos that have been erased in YouTube because, well, I don't know why.
It's called censorship, but nonetheless. Now, why is your website down right now? Is it something at your end, or are you under attack?
Right now it should work. If you go in, click andreaskalcker.com, it should work, because I'm on. Wait a moment, I can check it. It was before where they make some improvement, because the problem is we had so much traffic that we had to change from the server. So, but no, it works. Right now it works. No issues here.
So can you again tell people it's Andreas Kalcker, and your name is spelled? Go ahead and spell it.
Yes, Andreas, and Kalcker, and Andreas, KALCKER.com. Andreas Kalcker. And,
okay, and so what you do is you explain to
can,
people how to make it, but you don't sell it. Is that correct?
No, it's not my interest. You know, people. Oh, I've been harassed 13 years.
Yes.
I've been harassed. You cannot imagine. This is for a big movie. What I can say here, because they detained me in Ibiza by speaking. I was speaking in front of 20 people, and 12 policemen came in to detain me. They brought me to a police station and asked themselves, why did they detain me? And let me go. Say this was something, and it was put in the press like, wow, we got something like that. I was absolved with each and every of the trials they have put on me, each and every one. The next thing is that the press is like like Donald Trump says, the fake news. Yes, they definitely are. There's good press and bad press, but the big one is a fake, extremely fake, and they put every kind of thing out of you to get you out. Then the medical establishment, that are good ones and bad ones too, the other ones forbid me to speak. So I could not even make in Spain, how do you say, a seminar in a hotel, And so it has been not only me, other people too, because there is a nun, she is a nun, Teresa Forcades, and she has studied as medicine internist from Harvard University. So she was studying it, and she is defending it as well, because she is a specialist on that, and she gets harassed too. So everybody gets harassed on this substance, because actually this substance is something that could be a problem for the industry, because this is definitely the case.
Absolutely.
It's too cheap. It's too cheap. It's everywhere.
And it pretty much seems to cure everything. So in terms of Dr. Robert Young, I mentioned him, and he also said that I think back in the 80s he wrote a paper about this. So he's also very much aware of it, and I had him on my show last week, I believe it was. So he has also put that out. He's also been incredibly harassed and actually thrown in jail on these charges and so on and so forth. So it's every time you try to heal anyone of anything, the big pharma is obviously has this huge reach and will basically try to shut you down. Now, as far as Guayaquil is concerned, I was looking on the internet, and you're saying people are kind of dropping dead in the streets. Is that what you're saying? Because there is word out there that there's more than one strain, in other words, of this virus, that it's not the same in every country. Have you been able to look into that?
Yes, of course. It's the S and the L strain.
What does that mean?
So there are different strains. There are different strains of the virus. What does it mean? The approach of a vaccine is questionable, because if it is really true that the virus can mutate in a few weeks, so what we have to do? To vaccinate every 2 weeks? Whereas it doesn't make sense at all. Well, vaccination makes sense when you say, okay, from 1 year to the next year, maybe. But it would be like the change is so fast, because before it was a very easy one, that it was a bit cough and people had no big symptoms. But now you have something that's really deadly, and it's not a joke anymore at all, and not fake, believe me. So what happens? So if this virus can change so fast, a vaccination is absolutely bogus.
I agree with that. But there is question as to what exactly this is. And of course, Dr. Young has a whole different philosophy in terms of feeling that this actually isn't a virus at all. And that there's only, I think if he says it, there's no viruses or one virus in essence. What is an imbalance in an over amount of toxicity, acidic toxicity in our cells that gets expelled into, I guess, you could clarify this, but maybe the bloodstream clogs up the arteries or the breathing apparatus in your body, and then you can't, people have trouble expelling it. And the outside environment contributes to this toxicity. And then if 5G is turned down, it's got even more toxicity being bombarded at the body. And this is where the concentrations seem to be occurring in places where they had 5G. So what is your reaction to all of that?
Well, I know this hypothesis, and they may be things that are okay with it, but I have my own hypothesis because I'm very fact-based. I'm trying to be as scientific as possible. So my hypothesis as a physicist, not a chemist, is different. A virus, and because I'm not a virologist, this is a different thing. The virus itself, there are some incongruencies because, let's say, a virus does not eat and does not defecate his metabolic waste. So where does he get the energy from? It violates the law of thermodynamics. Huh? Okay, because if you have a T4, for example, a fake that's sitting on a bacteria, it has to grind through it because the bacterial wall is quite thick in these things because these are very, very small. The bacteria is enormous compared to a virus. So where comes the energy from? And what is not clear, how do it assemble inside? The assembling process is not known at all. And when we see that this is an electric process, then it's a very different thing because I made some development on frequency machines, and they work very well on virus, actually, the Biotron that I did. So the Biotron is able to get rid of this as a kind of zapper, let's say, but it's more advanced. And so, yes, it works definitely because electricity is related to virus for me. For me, as a definition, okay, a virus is an electric parasite. So what does it mean? Viruses usually appear in places where the body electricity is very, very high. For example, if you have herpes, you have the herpes in the high electric areas, or in the higher electric areas down there too. And you have, for example, what is psoriasis. When the people get upset and nervous, boom, the rashes get very big because they're more nervous. There's more electricity, and this is a direct relationship. The electric relationship and the virus is related. To which point, if it's 5G, 4G, or whatever, that has to be solved out because it is possible. Yes. It is proved. No. So we have to go after each and every possible reason what it could be. It could be a mix to it. So, for example, that actually the high energy, the fields that we are living in, because it's not only the 5G. We have sometimes the houses of 10 plants, and everybody has routers everywhere, and you're sitting in a cooking melting pot of frequencies that can affect very much all that. And so if there's something it can get really nasty, what is happening now. So we need to look for it in the future, but this will be the future if there is. First, we have to get rid of this virus we are fighting now. That's the CV virus, and the CAMELOT is the first solution of all. I had already with the Biotron 2 people that have had come down too. So not recovered. Sorry, my English not the best. So they recovered from that, and a mother and a daughter from a professor I know. And so they were very happy because they had no chlorine dioxide at their home, and it worked too. So there is definitely a relationship in between electricity and viruses. So if I define it a little bit like a electric parasite, that might had its origin as a program in our own body. I don't discuss that. This is another thing. The origin. But if we have, for example, a virus of our own body, it doesn't harm us. But if it's from something else, like a different animal, a worm, a parasite, or whatever, then it can harm us because it's a wrong program,
Okay, well, along those lines, and thank you for that, let me ask you about the idea that it's a bioweapon created in a lab, which that absolutely seems to be the case. And it has, among other things, some kind of bat, something from bats. Okay. And there was this woman who was even in this biolab in Wuhan known as the Bat Lady. And so she actually tried to do experiments with this substance that she got from bats. So, and there's also other verification from other people talking about the Fort Detrick labs. I have evidence of the patent on the viruses, and that's not just COCV, but also SARS and other HIV. And there's a patent list that I have showing that the United States owns patents on those viruses, strangely. So, in other words, what is your reaction to the idea that bats are involved?
Well, I'm not the virologist, but to say that we know, for example, when you get in caves, that bats have a very strong smell that can affect your lungs. That we know, it's well known. But actually, yes, they might be very well. It might be a bioweapon because especially the coronavirus 2 is the standard one. We know coronavirus; it has been there around all the time. It's nothing new, actually. But the 19, as a colleague of mine said, would be the best to make a bioweapon out of it due to its construction or due to its characteristics. So it might be, yes, it might be a bioweapon, but that is done from the American. I don't know. I saw now a patent in France too from the Louis Pasteur Institute on coronavirus. There are many patents going on viruses and so on. And I asked myself, how can you make a patent on something you did not create yourself? I have patents myself. So, so something is fishy in all this thing. Yes, definitely, yes. But I'm not a specialist and I'm not into who is doing what, where. I'm not part of the intelligence.
Of course. Well, I was just wondering whether you thought it was possible that the bats, as you say, it is possible then that this could be a bioweapon and it could contain the bat. There may be a reason why they use bats in particular. So I think that's very important for people to consider. Now, in terms of this final, how you make it, can you talk about how you make it on my video here? Just because if your website goes down in the future and other places are difficult to get your information, it might be helpful. And then you could also refer them to your website for more details or whatever. Could you do that?
Yeah, exactly. Now, for example, if you go into my website, the type it is done, you can download it. It's free to download everywhere you want. And so please download it before it gets wiped out.
Okay, but is it possible for you to talk about it? I can show your website actually here for people.
Yeah, well, how to make it? It's basically a very easy thing. I can check it out here. Yep. A moment. So there are many ways to do it, but you can make it with but there's an easy way for everybody to do how to make it out of. You need just that here that closes, and basically what you do is you have a. Sorry. So what you need is this and this, a glass. So what you do, you make an amount of MMS, as it's called. You put it in the glass, you put water around, and you close the tap. So what will happen is that the gas, because the CO2 is a gas, will go out and will saturate the water. And once the water is saturated, you have CDS. It's pure, it does not make side effects. It's pH neutral, it's not an acid, it cannot burn your stomach, there's no way, because if it's pH neutral. And this is basically one of the ideas we had. This is the most simple setup. We have obviously the luxury setup with this here. It is for laboratories, or for high end. But this is basically something everybody can have at home. what you do, you put water in, you put the sodium chloride with T, NaClO2 here with HCl 4%. You put it in, you close the tap, you put it in a cupboard, and next day you can take it out, and what's left in the water is yellow, and this yellow water is in what we call the concentrated CDS, and from the concentration you take only 10 milliliters that you dilute in the water again, and then you have around 50 ppm, parts per million. It's very, very, very low liquid that you drink during the day, and that's it. It's a little bit, it tastes like a little bit now like pool water, and that's it. So this pool water is actually the CDS. Let's say it's not pool water, obviously, but you can make it very easy yourself. But before you do it, or before you do anything, please read the web. I don't want to push nobody to make himself harm.
Okay, so you're saying read the directions, or read about it on your website and other.
Read the web, read the book, because I have two books.
Let's talk about that
exactly.
Then. Let's actually. So yes. You have, and well, before we get to the books, I just want to make sure. So what is the ingredients? You've got these bottles here, I see, and you're saying MMS is one of the ingredients, but it's actually, is it?
It's actually an ingredient. It's the main, nothing else.
And water? Basically?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Very
nothing
interesting.
Else. And the good thing is, if you have, for example, if you have a cold of acidity, it doesn't matter, because you don't use it for drinking. You just use the gas that's saturated in the water.
Okay. I actually have a girlfriend that makes it. She does a very good job.
If you look on my website, you will see everything. And if somebody wants, there are even courses, online courses. Very cheap ones. We maybe put the price down now to half of it, so everybody, even in South America, wherever people don't have money, can buy them for $30 or whatever. And so it's everything explained from here to there to for the people that have no idea. So this is explained there, and this is the way it does. How to do, and this usually are the courses, the online course, can show the people that want to know it better or want to start being a researcher. So it is not something I'm promoting. It is not something I want to sell or whatever. It is just, if something does it, please look at it, because I don't want nobody to get harmed by doing it wrong.
Now, in terms of, if you were going to, let's pretend that you're talking to President Trump, just in case I can get this video. Even if we can't get you to him, then we could get this video, let's say. And what would you say to him that you would like to have to say right now?
Very simple. President Trump, I have the solution. That's a fact. It's not a joke at all.
No, I appreciate that. Okay. And this is very interesting, because it does work. I've seen it work for myself and my partner and so on. So it's a solution for the world. And if the world does not want to pay attention, then the world will have to deal with the fallout, actually. And
if you look on the Spanish-speaking websites now, they're popping up everywhere. People that are saying, "Hey, I took it and it worked."
So now, do you know what oxygen drops are?
It's basically the same.
Yes.
You know, when you go, the last time I went to South America, I went with Avianca. I opened the book and I said, "Wow, stabilized oxygen." I said, "Hey, the same stuff, you know." Less concentrated, but the same stuff. You use it to disinfect your water, stabilized oxygen. It's well known. And they sell it in the airplane, you know, and say, "Hey, if it's so damn dangerous, why do you sell it in the airplane?"
Well, and to disinfect water. So it is It's oxygen drops as well. I did notice it tastes exactly like MMS, but it's much weaker. Like it's a weaker solution, right?
Yeah, yes, because usually the sodium chloride, NaClO2, careful, it's not hyperchloride, different story, chloride, not hyperchloride. I say it the third time, chloride, not hyperchloride, because that's bleach. If you use that, the sodium chloride, NaClO2, then this industrial strength is around 25%. Sometimes a bit more, a bit less, doesn't matter. So actually, this is the high strength, that you need for the reaction. The activated one is around 4.5%. 4-5%. That's the strength. So you need 5 times more.
Okay, and you're talking about oxygen drops versus the solution. So, in terms of, again, getting back to this hydrochlorophyll, whatever this thing is that Trump is talking about, and you say it's very old, but no one knows what is. Are you saying no one knows what is in it? I don't understand. Can't they just, scientists can just...
No, they know very well what is in it. So basically it's a tonic water with chlorine for the non-pros. So that's what it is. But what it's in, it's very known. But the pharmacokinetics or pharmacodynamics are not known, really. They are somehow known, but they really don't know. So it's not known why it really works on the malaria pathogen. I know why it works, because they're very sensitive to oxidative process. So if it works on malaria, the falciparum are very sensitive to oxygen. Actually, when you have them in the lab and you want to work with them, you have to be careful that they don't get too oxidized, the test. So they are very sensitive to oxygen, and they don't like it at all, because that's where they get killed in the body, the malaria parasite, So this is exactly this. They are sensitive to oxidation process. This means burning.
Okay, so another thing I notice questions in the chat, and I want to say that we do have a very active chat room here. And people type their information onto the chat. So one thing I'm noticing, and this is very important, is no, you cannot put it with other solutions, and you can't.
Correct.
And you can't put it with other foods or anything else. Like it's something that you do separate. Is there some advice that you say in terms of, do you take it in the morning before you eat, or that kind of thing?
Well, it is. This is in the web. You can read it. But what you cannot take it with, for example, with antioxidants, because you have an oxidant and you have an antioxidant, and they cancel the effect. It means it has no efficiency. It's not bad. You will not die. You will not get toxic. Nothing of that. But it just will not work. So if you drink it together with your orange juice, it will not work. If you drink it together with your vitamin C pill, it will not work. So you have to really drink it with water, and this way, the taste is not like in the old times where really it throws you from the chair. I remember when I started with it, the taste was so awful. So I was working long on that, and other people too. I'm very thankful for other people from America, Charlotte and Dan Bender, and other people that have helped me in this time to get through to it, because it's not only my ideas. There's many ideas with the glass, for example, is from them, basically, and others too. It was funny because it was developed in America and Germany from others and from me, and so everybody put a little bit together. I want to give credit to everyone who has been on that. I want to say thank you to everyone who's supporting me too, because there are many people supporting my work when there are dark times of harassment. It makes me going on somehow. So it's something that is really, really big, getting very big, and it's our last chance not to get total slaves.
If I understand it correctly now, you're not combining the concentrated MMS with citric acid anymore. Is that correct?
No, we don't do MMS anymore. It's
Okay.
grandfather.
Okay. So
There's nothing.
for people that are listening, I have several interviews with Jim Humble, who was one of the first people who sort of, in a certain sense, discovered MMS, although Dr. Robert Young appears to have also discovered it. So, but I don't know the years with both of them.
It's much older than both.
Okay, fine. But at any
I
rate,
know it.
I
found it in the 80s in Germany already, and it's
all right.
much older.
So, okay. So it was around, but people didn't know about it much. But I have to say, this thing called MMS was something that was named by Jim Humble. That was his product. Now, he doesn't sell it. He just talks about it. And I have interviews with him. I even did one like a month ago or so. It's all on my YouTube channel. Just put Humble into the search term and you'll find all the interviews with him. So anyone who wants to know about the original substance, the original process, how it came about, etc., can watch that. In your case, you've named it something else. What is it called now?
It's called CDS. And if you look on my website, Jim was actually there when I presented it to him. It's a beautiful thing. It's the story, how it was done and made. It's a long time ago. We are good friends. I think Jim is one of the most important people the world had the last 100 years, and I hope he will be there when we got the big breakthrough on world scale.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. And I guess I'll look for some questions and then I'll ask you for some wrap-up comments. So while I do that, why don't you give us some wrap-up comments and I'll look for any burning questions in the chat, okay? So go ahead.
Wrap-up questions. I don't know what you mean, actually.
Wrap-up comments. In other words, any last words you'd like to say to the audience while you still have their attention?
Sorry. Well, actually, in the first of all, I want to thank Jim Humble. I want to thank you. I want to thank the people that are supporting it. I want to say that it has given sense to my life, because people ask me, why are you doing it? And say, well, I recognized that I will die, like every one of us, sooner or later. And actually, it's not important at all. It's not important at all. The thing is when you die. The important thing is what did you do meanwhile? And I'm not interested to be the richest of the graveyard. I'm not interested in being famous at all. Don't care. I'm just a messenger, nobody else. The message is already out, so nobody can stop it anymore. The time will tell what will happen. Forces are very strong. I'm not religious, but I believe in the universe. You can name it God, you can name it whatever you want. And so, yes, definitely there's something big that is helping us, but there's something obscure that wants to really harm us. I hope that good will prevail, and I hope that I get listened from the right people, not from the wrong ones. And if so, well, what will happen is what will happen. And actually, I'm very happy for everybody who supported me. I get really hundreds and thousands of comments, emails, and whatever, Facebook, that are really helping me to understand that what I'm doing is the right thing. And the important thing, I'm not recommending anything. I just tell to the people, read what is there. I've written everything down. It's a lot of work. It's 13 years of work. And I want to give this knowledge on for free because this is basically what it is. I want it in the future. We will have a new technology, totally new technology of pharmaceutics. And that will be a different world. We can make a different world. It's a question of consciousness. And when we have the consciousness to do the right thing, we will be all together a much better world, focused on the positive and not focused on the negative. People are focusing much too much on the negative thing and don't realize that when you focus on the negative stuff, you give them force. I don't just want. And the people that are now with fear, well, fear is something we have to cope with, everybody, and we have to go through this thing and to understand that actually nothing can happen to us except dying. So that's what it is. So it can happen to you tomorrow in your car, or a meteorite drops on your head or whatever. And we have to understand life as something very important and fun, beautiful, that we have to live. And the more you give, the more beautiful it is. And if you can give health and happiness, that is the biggest goal you can get in your life.
Now, there is one last person saying, when can you start taking vitamin C again after you take it? I would say the next day. What would you say? Yes,
you can, but for what? Because a low dose vitamin C brings down your burning rate. We are working with high sports people. For example, we have in America, she's doing ultramarathon. It's our biochemist, and she found out that it brings down 27% of your muscle rate and so on. So really, there's no use for it. The problem is that everybody thinks that antioxidants, anti-burning, is a good thing. It's not like that. The body has enough just by eating standard normal fruit from time to time, because the half-life of vitamin C is 13 days.
Okay. Thank you. That's a very interesting explanation. All right. Well, thank you so much, Andreas. It's lovely to see you again and to have you on my show. And I hope that we will get the message to Trump and to the rest of the world, and that people can simply in a few days be done with this so that we can go on with our lives and stop being so preoccupied with all of this nonsense. And so that's my philosophy. At any rate, take care, and thank you again.
Thank you very much here from Switzerland. I hope everybody will be fine in the future. I hope everything will come to a good end, and I hope that your show will go on a long, long, long time. But it's really great.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. If you haven't seen my videos, I suggest that you do watch them. I've done lots of updates. I've been gathering a lot of information over the last few weeks, and it's kind of like information central around here. So I can say that I may have more information than most people, simply because I also have whistleblower information coming in behind the scenes, as you can imagine, as well as source information. So please do pay attention to all the other videos I've been making lately. Lots of good information. And if you are subscribed to my Twitter, subscribe to my Facebook, you will get all of the information that I'm also distributing out there that has to do with, links and videos that other people are making that have good information. So thank you again for supporting me and my work, and stay tuned for more shows in the future. Take care. Bye-bye.